Right, everyone, it's Christmas Eve, and that means tomorrow is Christmas. We're joined by Jackie and Euan on the channel. Euan, what's Santa bringing you this year? What do you hope he brings you this year?
A warmer flat would be nice. I've practically got a campfire going here, so if you see me shivering during the course of this video, then that's what's going on. More points in the bag for Celtic would be fine, and obviously world peace and all other stuff you might ask for.
You've stolen my wee punchline there, because I was going to hope that neither of you said 3 points against St Johnstone, and then I was going to rip into you both for not being proper Celtic men. Jackie, what do you want from Santa?
3 points. I'm going to say world peace. Get this COVID away would be nice as well.
Oh yeah,
I think getting back to normality. It's a bit tiresome in it. It's a bit, just want everything back to normal. Football back to normal, life back to normal. So yeah, if Santa could take the COVID away, I'd be happy with that.
You're not asking for too much, so hopefully the big man can
it was
deliver.
Maybe this time last year it was meant to be away, after getting all our Jags and everything else. So yeah, it just seems to be dragging on and on.
Yeah, I mean, the game on Boxing Day itself is affected by COVID, isn't it? Because we're going to play in front of 500 fans against St Johnstone. Will that be difficult, you think, for the players to kind of readjust back to this weird setting that we've been used to for the last season, Jackie?
Yeah, it'll be obviously like last year. They need to create their own atmosphere and the tempo up. I think that was kind of lacking a little bit last night. Was the tempo? It was a lot of passing, a lot of possession, but no real high intensity that they've shown in the last number of games. And the way that St Mirren played the game, sat in and frustrated and slowing it all down all the time. So they'll need to create that and against St Johnstone right from the off. Although it's only 500 fans there, but they need to get at it right away. And they're obviously be low in confidence just now with the results they've had.
Yeah, I mean, they are struggling, Euan, and there's obviously not going to be Celtic fans there on Sunday, but 500 is better than nothing, isn't it? And 500 in that stadium should at least, seem like some sort of proper game and not a glorified, friendly.
I mean, that's probably about a stand's worth at McDermott Park, isn't it? So it's not a huge difference. No, yeah, it's going to be a weird one regardless. And as Jackie says, St Johnstone are really, really poor form. There's leaking goals at the back. They're struggling to get anything moving. Up front, I think they've scored 2 in their last 5 or 6.
I think they've not scored like 9 or 10 goals all season. It's like a crazy number.
I think that's a better stat to use, isn't it? But it's going to be really, really weird. And I'm praying, hoping against hope this is the last time we have to encounter this kind of issue this season. Because it would be grim going back to that. Every limited capacity or having no one in. It's not the same sport as far as I'm concerned. So I'm worried about that. But I think, St Johnstone are on dreadful form. So we should be aiming to completely block any atmosphere or non-atmosphere out and just do a perfunctory job, get through it, and then when it breaks there. So just a case of getting it done.
Jackie, we do have to chat about St Mirren, disappointingly, but it is Christmas time, so we want to keep the spirits high. So will we start with Sunday in Hampden and just what you thought of the team and Ange winning their first trophy together?
I think that was an important thing, getting that silverware, his first trophy, the first trophy that he's been in as well. Considering the start he had and all the difficulties he's had from coming in. And Kygo, I thought his 2 finishes were excellent. And the difference with him in the team, the difference when he's not in the team, and that's obviously the difficulty when you go for that, when you've got somebody like that up front. To a recognised striker that can go in behind. You can, there weren't even great chances that he had. Just instinct there, especially the second one, just that split second on the move, quick free kick, and Hibs were a bit disappointed with it. But that's everything they done was quick. And it's hard to adjust and hard to defend. Even the goalkeeper's positioning, everything about it. So he's been such an important player since he came in, Kygo. and I think it's important there. Obviously, the manager builds in that and gets a few more, that he knows in.
You've seen so many Celtic strikers over the years. You've played with probably at least 3 world-class ones. How good do you think Kygo is?
Yeah, I mean he's different. He's different, from Henrik. You try and compare him to ones you played with. I played with some incredible ones with Van Hooijdonk and Sutton, Hartson. These guys were all different. Number 9s back to goal, could create things. Henrik's movement, his finishing. Kygo, I'm still not sure his position, which is quite weird. He likes a kind of freedom. I like him when he's in a free role, but his movement is so good, and his desire to win the ball back. He starts the defence. I watched his interview the other week there before one of the games. I think it was a Motherwell game, and he was talking about defending himself from the front. And I just thought his interview was excellent. How he settled into Scotland and the way he wants to play. But I love his desire. I love his work rate. And I think that's infectious for the rest of the team and the fans for the energy.
Euan, Jackie's obviously biased to an extent because he played with Larsson, but do you think Kygo is the best since Larsson, or am I just, going daft here?
I don't think you're going daft. I think there's a case to be made for sure. It's tricky because I think, we're kind of forgetting the impact that Moussa Dembele had his first season. I think he was... Yeah, if there's a discussion of post-Larsson strikers, he's got to be right up there. Scott McDonald was pretty unerringly prolific. I put him up there too. But it's hard not to get caught up in the excitement of this. He really is just something else. And like Jackie says, positionally, he's not your typical centre forward, and that brings so much. I'm just wondering, actually, Jackie, from a player's perspective, when you have players like, obviously you had Larsson, and I'm not saying he's the same as Kygo, but he was excellent at making those kind of runs through space that didn't really seem to exist. As a wide player, were you kind of aiming for the spaces where you thought he might be, or would it be a case of looking up and trying to find him, or was there that sort of kind of telepathy? How did that work for a player like Larsson, because he didn't always know where he was going to be?
In fairness, his movement would dictate where you put the ball. You could see, that was the beauty of it. And even like the free kick the other day with Rogic, when he's picked the ball up, he's already on the move. You can see just that quick eye contact, the split second, and and when you've got guys like that, they need to be willing runners, because you go and look up and get the ball down and then just flick one over the top and he's standing there like that, he's back, and then you look a fool. So it's sure. These guys there, like it's a Big John Hartson. You couldn't do that with Big John. You'd have been to John's chest, he could hold off 2 defenders at once, bring everyone into play, or put crosses into the box with him, and he would make it there. So it's the players working with him as well. They'll understand his movement, the wee things that he'll do in training. See, right, I'm coming short to go in behind, and then they'll know right away that he's going to be that one that's going to be the willing runner. And I think that was a big frustration last year when you're looking at strikers like Ajeti. Like, going behind, go and do something, everything is just running to the ball, get attracted to the ball all the time, which makes it easy for defenders. If I'm a defender and seeing a striker just leads back to me and just running towards the ball rather than on the half turning, and for a defender playing against someone like Kygo, you're like constantly on the lookout. Where's he going? What's he doing? They're very, very difficult to mark, and you end up getting deeper and deeper and more space for the midfielders.
Yeah, I mean, I felt Kygo actually won us that cup final on Sunday. I don't know if he was in that pitch, if we would have come back and won that game. And, players in the past have scored goals in finals, like Edouard scored a couple of penalties and obviously gets the credit for that because you still need to put it away. But those goals on Sunday were Kyogo's making, really. He was the one who made the run for both of them. And don't get me wrong, the balls from Rogic and McGregor were both brilliant, but it was Kygo who kind of made them and finished them. We'll move to St Mirren now because we have to, guys. Jackie, was that a result that had been coming, if we're honest, over the last couple of months, or were you still surprised when Celtic couldn't find a way to net?
No, to be honest, I wasn't. I wasn't surprised. I thought we've kind of we've got away with certain things. I thought we got away with things at Ross County. Thought we were a good first half. Motherwell, I thought they were excellent. And could have been a lot more than 1-0, but it wasn't 1-0 because you don't have a recognised number 9 up there. So we've been fortunate to get the maximum points from the game, especially Ross County won the 97th minute with Ralston with his header. When it's nip and tuck like that, until you get your striker in, and you see a difference with the cup final. He scores 2 goals. You've got your striker back on, but then the one game, obviously you're back to a batter through the middle, and everything was so condensed. It was. I think we could have still been there just now, and you had that feeling after 15 minutes, after 60 minutes, 70 minutes. You just like, this is. The only concern you had was them on the break, which they had a couple of chances on the break later on with Curtis Main with a chance. So that was, I just felt that it didn't look like scoring, or it was going to be something spectacular to win the match.
That was from open play, Euan, and I know you wanted to chat about set pieces.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Jackie, from your experience as both a player and a manager, what's the kind of importance of set piece kind of routines, and how much do teams nowadays kind of work on that? Because what I saw last night, it was very, very basic stuff from corners and free kicks. It was we had all these opportunities and just weren't able to really use them. So how do you improve that, I guess, from the management point of view? Because it's just a bit grim having all these chances and nothing really to show for it.
Yeah, I think obviously it comes down to personnel. Most importantly, if you're putting great balls into the box, but you don't have the guys in there to go and execute it or put the head on it. I think you could see the set piece that he scored against Motherwell. It was well worked. The free kick was put across to Tom Roddick, who put a great finish on it. So there's certain things that you can see that they obviously work on. Corners, obviously it's condensed. You can see they're outswingers predominantly, or if it's Tumble's more. He'll take them from both sides a lot of the time. And when they score, obviously, so that's a set piece we've worked on. But I think they maybe have 2 or 3 options with them running into attack. There's tried a couple of short ones last night. Actually, young Moffat tried a short one and tried to work it and drag them out. But I think it was quite a frustrating game to watch. It was very stop-start, very, as I said, a lot of passing, a lot of possession without any real penetration. And we did get crosses in. They weren't really bad crosses. I think one into my mind was Juranovic had a good one at the back post area. We nearly scored from. But we don't have the personnel in the middle to go and attack it or get the finish.
At the moment, but we do have a big French 6'5" man who loves to score a header now and again, Euan. Coming back at some stage in the next year.
In the next year, 2 years, too. I feel really, really sad for Julien. There's no, as far as I know, unless something dramatics happen over my lunch break, there's no updated timescale for him to come back. It's you have seen Starfelt and Cameron Carter Vickers to an extent getting on the end of crosses and that kind of thing. But having Julien back for set pieces would be a massive boost. It just seems like an attitude thing as much as, he just seems absolutely desperate to get to absolutely everything. So, having a bit of that back would be really, really good. But when, I don't know.
Yeah, certainly not for Sunday, I don't think. Will we have Kygo back for Sunday is the $1 million question. I would expect David Turnbull still to miss out, James Forrest still not to be back. So will things be any different against St Johnstone, Jackie? Is there any reason to suggest that it'll be different from what we witnessed on Wednesday?
I don't know the story with Kygo. If he was rested or not, or maybe just precautions.
Well, Ange says he doesn't rest players, but we'll wait and see.
But I'd imagine, I'd be surprised if Kygo doesn't play on or start at the weekend, especially when you've got the break after it. They'll get time to recover if it's hamstring or. And a lot of muscular injuries that the team's had, which is incredible. The amount of hamstrings and just with the intensity and the way that the manager wants to play and press and obviously the recovery's been difficult because of so many games at a short space of time. but I think obviously the window coming open, and there's going to be new players coming in. There's got more recruitment, more time for the players to recover for that, and they'll get the benefits from training with Ange once they've come through their injuries.
And it's just a case of winning at all costs, guys, on Sunday. Just win, as simple as that. Get ourselves into the winter break when we can, as you say, recharge. We can bring new players in. We can get players back from injury, and hopefully things should look a bit rosier at that stage, Jackie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I said, the late goal against Ross County was so crucial. You see it now. There's 6 points trailing just now, and that could have been a lot worse. That it hadn't scored so late on there. So the importance of having a squad, having the recognised strikers fit and ready for this next bit of the season. You see the manager's comments about not wanting to go anywhere, wanting to stay at home and work on his team and work for the second half of the season. So there need to be a big push, and it's important that that gap isn't bigger after Boxing Day.
Just when you're chatting about the team not going to Dubai, if you were a player, this might be a cheeky question, but would you be gutted that you weren't going away to the sunny weather? Would you be kind of sad you had to stay in cold and rainy Scotland, or does it matter?
In my time there, I think we had 2 winter breaks, and they were fantastic. One was the year we got to the final in Seville, which helped us recuperate at that time of year. It gave us that kind of boost. Yeah, I mean the players will be disappointed that they're not going to. I think it was Portugal they're supposed to be going to. They'll be disappointed with that, but I think with the carry on last year and the backlash from last year, the priority is that they're ready for the final push of this season. So far it's been very positive, winning the League Cup, and the team's far better than it was last year. And I think they need to be ready for the next bit of the season when they come back.
Euan, would you be gutted missing out on the sun?
I haven't been in the sun for at least a decade, so I wouldn't know. I'm the wrong person to ask. I genuinely can't remember last time I was abroad. So I think it might have been Ireland, so it doesn't really even count. But so I'm the wrong person to ask. I guess hypothetically, yeah. But I'm not even sure what it would do to my skin. So I can't give you a committal answer on that, I'm afraid.
I'm feeling really sorry for you.
You should. That's the fault.
Yeah.
You get pelters every single video. It's a shame. But
that's what happens.
Right, guys, we'll move on to some Ange comments I wanted to get your thoughts on just before we go. He's been chatting today about potential January signings and when we could see them. Now, Ange says, we are still with the intent of trying to bring them in, so signings in early. From my perspective, it would be ideal if we can get them in from when we restart training and give them a lead into the second half of the year. Euan, so it sounds like he's wanting to bring players in as early as possible. There was a report in Sky a couple of weeks ago that it would be just the 3 Japanese players and maybe a permanent deal for Jota, but he's not really a new signing, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Is that enough? And does Celtic need more players in January?
Yeah, I think it probably is enough, because I think on balance, we're getting skewed slightly by how many injuries that we have. And you consider the actual depth of the squad. If you had everyone fit and available right now, you add those 2 players and you get a permanent deal for Jota, and we've got quality, at least 2 quality players in every position, just about. So I'd be happy with that. I think it's the fact that we have so many people out makes it look much more grim than it probably is. And I think adding too many players can be a problem. I mean, we've seen that in the past, where, especially in January, where we've had kind of these superfluous players that come in and there's no real function for them beyond the first month or 2. I mean, remember Colin Kazim-Richards and Carlton Cole and kind of those kind of players, Jeremy Toljan. I'm sure there's hundreds more. Oliver Burke, Sir Oliver Burke, good man. It just, you don't want to add too much for the sake of it, because that could have a worse effect on the squad balance than if we don't bring players in. So I think for cohesion's sake, I think the 3 Japanese players, who are high quality, by the way, very good players, and sealing up Jota, maybe even Carter Vickers, you never know. But I honestly think that would be fine because we're waiting on so many players getting back.
So, Jackie, we're chatting about Maida, who is, I think, a striker, can also play off the left. We're chatting about Hatate, who is a kind of number 10, but can also play in other positions, I think, on the left as well. And Ideguchi, who is a holding midfielder. All permanent deals. I think the chat is that enough as far as you're concerned, or are there other areas we could do with strengthening?
No, I think that should be fine. I think, like Euan said, I think that you've got enough in other positions, and they're moving. Even when there's a couple of injuries which we've had, you can cover for that. I think it's a top end. It's the most important. That's where we've been struggling in the last sort of month. With number 9, if Kyogo's not there, then you've got Yeti been injured. You've got Jackie McNamara. So I think you need reinforcements there. Jota obviously been a loss as well in the last few weeks. So no, I think the 3 would be ideal, and I think that would be enough.
I don't think the defence is really an issue at the moment. I think we've conceded 6 goals in the last 12 in the league, 11 all season. So we're not exactly shipping goals. It's almost just another option for if and when Kygo isn't fit. Because even if a Yeti or Giakoumakis is fit, I'm not totally convinced that suits Ange's way of playing. I just think we're so electric when Kyogo's playing, and if we can get someone like Maida in, who seems to be like, I don't want to say a carbon copy of Kygo, but very similar in the way he plays. Really quick, really aggressive, really good runs he makes, scores goals as well. If we get someone like him in, I just think it would solve a lot of our problems. And obviously Hatate as well. It seems like he's a kind of a similar player, a bit deeper, but maybe that kind of other option for when Rogic isn't fit. Euan?
Yeah, I think. No, I don't think. I'm quite excited about the idea of Hatate coming in when, let's say, Rogic or Turnbull aren't fit, because he's not an out-and-out 10, but he's he plays that a little bit deeper. He's really, really good at facilitating playmakers. So I think he'll be an absolute delight for Turnbull or Rogic to play next to. Then you can have Kel McGregor as a number 6, where he's been at his best all season. I think he's a really exciting player, and they're just really, really good options. Ideguchi, I don't know as much about. I believe he had a spell at Leeds. He didn't really get a game, but he's got a lot to prove, certainly. In terms of, he wants to make up for lost time when he was out on loans from Leeds United, and by all accounts, he's a really, really top J-League performer. So they're all exciting targets. But as I say, Maida is the one for me that I've actually written an article about this already today on 67hillhill.com. Have a look. And yeah, he like Kygo is just this electric, so pacey. He's set records for a number of sprints in games, but he also scores absolute worldies. He's great at pressing from the front, and just the idea of him and Kygo, or him instead of Kygo if needs be, it's really, really exciting. I think from what I read, he was the guy rather than Kygo Furuhashi, who was meant to be, he was the one that we were going to sign. It was just kind of the obvious links. So it's potentially really, really exciting times.
It is indeed, and it's Christmas time as well, everyone, so we can look forward to that. Jackie, is that the best thing about no longer being in football, the fact you can enjoy Christmas Day now?
To be honest, I really enjoyed the football stuff when they're playing over the Christmas period. There's a discipline there. I think sometimes too much. You go in and get the presents for the kids in the morning, then you go to the hotel at night and never relax. You're preparing all the time.
What did you get for your Christmas dinner when you were playing the next day?
We used to, again, try and stick to a routine. That's the thing when you're a footballer, it's routine. It's the pastas and bolognese, stuff like that, chicken. But sometime at Christmas there, I would normally have the Christmas dinner as well in the afternoon, and then train. Sometimes Martin would have his training 8 o'clock at night or something like that, and then we'd go to the hotel on Christmas night. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. So I don't, it's a bit different now. When the kids are a lot older now. You don't need to build anything up. No toys to build up anymore. I just buy them all.
Brilliant. Well, the Celtic players have got all that to look forward to tomorrow. Pasta or whatever for their lunch, and hopefully 3 points against St Johnstone the following day. We're going to leave it there for now, guys. I hope you have a brilliant Christmas and a happy New Year and all of that stuff as well. That goes for everyone watching this. We will have a wee video for you tomorrow night, believe it or not. Just a wee preview to the game against St Johnstone. Nothing major, just a wee short video. So you can watch that and enjoy that. We'll speak to you then.